up, everybody? It's Julian. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make push bonsai Eve stereo style classic trance. I'm very excited to be showing you how to do this stuff. To go along this video, you get the full template at the top of the description on my website. Make sure to go grab that so you can follow along and make your best classic trance track of your life today. Thanks for the support, everybody, and let's get started. Alright, so we're at 140 BPM. First thing we got here is our 909 kick. Now you'll notice this isn't even like that modern, boom, like insane tech house 909 or anything like that. It's just this nice, like honestly kind of quieter, softer 909, but it's all about the mixing. Because as you can see, all we're really doing is just cutting out a little bit of sub. But what that's going to allow us to do is we can just turn this up. If you look, this is like one of the loudest things in the whole mix. The master jumps every time that kick hits. So it's like, it almost doesn't even matter which 909 you're using as far as like if you wanted to really smack at the top of the mix. It's just knowing how to put that up loud. And again, when you cut that sub, it allows you to turn it up louder because a lot of what weighs your kick down and what like makes you turn it down quieter is like those sub frequencies that you're not even trying to have in the kick. So we just cut those and then turn it up nice and loud, and this almost smaller 909 creates a nice groove that way. And it can still be on top of the mix. Then we have our bass line. So what we're doing here, it looks complicated. It's really a simple progression. It's G sharp, B, D sharp, E, F sharp. So like root note, third, fifth, sixth, seventh, right? Pretty simple trancey progression. And then we're just jumping across different octaves to create this pattern. This is like super push Eve's style, right? We've got the notes kind of short. They're not touching each other also. And the thing about this bass, it's not super subby, like even with the kick. But you almost don't need it. Like with this faster stuff that's 4 on the floor like this, the more sub you have, the more it gets like weighed down. So these basses kind of just being more like 100 to 500 hertz rather than like super deep sub weighing the track down, it actually works pretty well. Like you don't need to worry about making things super subby, especially like when I was referencing against those older tracks, they didn't have a lot of sub. Now for the actual sound here, what we're doing is we're using an instrument rack to get kind of like this big super saw thing where we have one layer, which is wavetable, 2 saws, or a saw and a square with a ton of unison. And then this filter with an envelope on it. And then one which is the same thing, right? But with no unison. So you kind of get the best of both, and it's really fat. We got a bit of echo on ping pong. We've got some EQ, cutting out even more sub. Bass mono, and then the auto pan to make it bounce off the kick. Then we've got our lead. Now you'll notice this mostly drones on this one note, which we're in the key of G sharp minor, and that's the third. So it's like a very minor sounding thing if you have this playing the root note and then this playing the third, like right here. Listen to that. That's literally just creating a minor chord right there, right? So it's all about how these different elements interact. And then it does have these little things, these little accents every 2 bars, but again, it's really about just droning that minor third and then the rhythm. Right, and also the way that when this changes, check that out. This is F sharp major. And what note is that? That is A sharp, which is literally the major third there. So again, it's creating these chords between the different elements. That's one of the secrets of this type of trance, right? And again, why it's not always just about processing. This synth is a saw wave, 2 saw waves, super detuned, plus some unison on top of that. That's how you really get that like lost in space sort of super saw, right? We got a little bit of delay, a little bit of distortion. And I ended up not even sidechaining that. You know, not everything needs to be sidechained. The bass, it is good because the groove, you know, but this kind of, it allows it to come out more in the mix anyway. So then we've got our pad. Now, all the pad is doing is just following what the bass line is doing. It's that same chord progression. Except what we're doing is it's like, so it's those chords, but they're inverted a bit. So like, normally the chords would be like this. You'd have your root, third, and then fifth, which in this case is minor third, right? But what we're doing instead is we take the fifth and put it an octave down, under, and then the third an octave up. And that's how you get those big epic trance chords, because there's more space between the notes, so you can actually kind of like hear that, right? So this sound, I'm going to turn off the effects so that you can just see what it's actually doing. So we got this almost like C6, super detuned, super saw, which is detuned, and then also some unison. Then we're high passing. And then there's this gate. And that's how you get the trance gate. So what we're doing here is we're sidechaining this to this operator. And all this operator is some noise playing the pattern. This is the pattern, right? You'll notice the note notes create a lot of grooves, so you can play around with those. But it's playing like that, and then you sidechain it, and then it'll just play when that plays. And there you go. Now, usually, you gotta play with the threshold, and also bring the return down. Bring the return down, and play with the release. Cause see, those can, and then like, see, the return, when you have that up, it'll sound like you're getting the trance gate, but it's not tight. You got to turn that all the way down. Then we got a reverb, and then we have this auto pan again to make it sort of sidechain to the kick. And also, with this, the auto pan is cool because it works together with the gating to kind of create the groove. Like, it's not just the gate, it's also the sidechain on top of it. So then we got our drums. Like, we have this big fat clap that I'm just converting to mono because the original sample. See, a lot of times for these drums that are like the main ones, like the hi-hat, the kick, the clap, you know, really just having them pretty mono is the best bet because it's going to hit a lot harder. If I turn that off. See, and then you'd be wondering why the mix is off. Just convert it to mono if it's one of those main elements like that. We've got this open hi-hat. You can see the waveform is super fat already. Rave loop. Filling in the mid-range a bit. This is from my Ultimate Hard Techno drum library. And then we have this hi-hat, which I use the amplitude envelope and just made it a bit shorter. You really want to keep the drums pretty simple though. Like, if you listen to them all together, it's not much. Because you have so much, it's almost like you have percussion happening just from the bass and that trance gate adding so much rhythm. If you put too much drums, it's not really going to work with this style. And there we are. So there we go. That's how you do it. As you can see, you know, it's just about keeping things nice and clean and powerful, really from the foundation. You know, a lot of those classic records, they didn't have so much post-processing power as we have now. So a lot of it had to just really be good on the strength of the sounds and not the processing. So that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. And make sure to let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get the full project file, samples, MIDI, presets, everything from this video is available at the top of the description on my website. Go grab that. Do yourself a favor now. Thanks for the support, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.